I hate conspiracy theories.
Yes.
I fucking hate. I've always hated them.
Yeah.
I'm on the record as hating them.
Yes.
Because I see where they go. I know where they can go. I personally have been on the receiving end of paranoia across a multitude of like just from my whole life, and it's basically just paranoia.
Yeah.
Or misinformation or whatever, and it has physical repercussions, which I think people kind of think they're fun. It's like, no, these can have real issues.
Yeah.
Which brings me to, I posted it on my Twitter and I sent it to you. It was a longie. It was an article about QAnon. I believe it's on medium.com, or just go on my Twitter. And it was about the basically how QAnon started.
Yeah.
And what it is. And the guy who wrote it, and we talked about this a little bit.
The perspective, right?
It's this guy writes, makes games like role-playing games and like all the categories of gaming.
LARPs?
LARPing and CLARPing.
Got it, yay.
And QAnon is it's a role-playing game where they just keep it very vague. They say things like, do your own research, which means it's what people say, like, that's not my job to teach you.
Right, it's like, make your own way to my conclusion.
Yes, exactly. Like, I know, but I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
And it induces a thing in people called apophenia, which we all have in mild cases, I believe, meaning we all, at a certain point, will go like, it's that thing of like, why do I keep seeing that word?
Yeah.
That's Bader
I bought a
von Hout.
car. Now you see that car everywhere.
Yes. But it's seeing connections in places where there aren't. The guy gave a really good example, which is he was doing like a kind of an escape room thing, and he did it in a room he didn't really inspect that well, and he wrote a clue for people, but on the way the wood just happened to be was an arrow pointing at the wall. So then everyone in the game is like, this is the clue. And he's like, and I couldn't explain to them, I wrote it. That's not a clue. Yeah. That just happened. But so that's all of QAnon. It's just it's a self-perpetuating. It's like a brain eating.
You can't, and once you plant that seed, you can't now dictate.
Yes.
Like if you really, because the idea is to get to where they went. You know, that's what it was kind of designed. That's like what conspiracy theories are designed to do. But when they start going to places that you're like, oh, well, no, not that. It's like, nah, you can't really control it.
You can't control that. But also you can't control it if it's fake. The whole, like, one of the things is like when people make some symbol with their eye, that, and like it's some
or if you
symbol.
look on, it'll be like masonry symbols that
yes.
every
oh no, one of them was the basically the horns,
it's
the
like,
finger horns.
Rock
like,
on?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they cut to like Bush doing, and it's all like just their fingers are in
or they'll
motion.
be like,
so yeah, so we're caught up in a form of mental illness.
Yeah.
And they're killing people now.
You know, it's I'm going through kind of a weird time because I told you before that I was always like, my, dip into conspiracies was always just like aliens and it's funny and astrology, that bullshit.
Yeah.
And it was literally in the spirit of, ooh, it's a campfire. Like, let's all tell stories to freak ourselves out. Mm-hmm. That was my relationship with it.
Yeah.
Not about my life. Like, I remember my friend was having really bad Crohn's disease because he took this like drug that a lot of people take, and it made him have Crohn's.
Cocaine.
No.
Crohn's cane. No. Go ahead.
And so Crohn's cane.
Thank you, everyone.
It's so bad. So we were at this hospital in the Bay, and I remember asking the doctor, like, "Ooh, is anything haunted in here?" You know, like I'm always asking these questions. And he told me a story about how there's one statue. It's like a bust of the guy who like founded the hospital, and they always face it a certain way because when it's faced forward, someone dies immediately. So they always have it off center and like that shit. And I remember my friend being like, "God, you always ask those questions." I'm like, "I know, I love it." That's the form of it, you know. And I told you
That's why this is why when people talk about, I like literally I'm like instantly furious.
Right. But so then I told you that I accidentally stumbled upon an alien convention. Accidentally. I said it on a few episodes, like maybe a month or two ago. And they were all
extraterrestrial.
I couldn't believe that I shared something in common with these people. This is a long time ago. This is before Trump. But it was all like off the grid, poor, somehow not disabled, but like ill health.
Yeah.
White. Out of shape.
Like at least something's infected.
Something's like wonky. Like everybody had a wonky thing or a wheelchair or this.
A nub here, an infection there.
But it just like, they didn't look super healthy.
Cough.
Really weird because I was like, wait, these are the people these are my people.
Yes.
And they all spent their lives making DVDs, personal DVDs, which I'm still very upset I didn't buy to this day because hilarious. But and they'd have these like documents of like I'm like, oh, well, and then in my head I'm like, I can't believe this dumb thing that like, who the fuck thinks about this often is these people's identity in life. And almost in those weird evangelicals, like if they were like, they have to be right or else their life was like worth nothing. And after I saw that, that's when I'm like, this is not that. Some people are taking this very seriously. This is not funny campfire shit to people. And during Trump, a lot of my friends who historically when we were young knew I like, ooh, let's get scared. Let's tell scary stories. You know, I heard my stepmom is from the Philippines and like, they'll tell you all sorts of fucking crazy. Like, I just like those kind of stories when I was young. And some of my friends are sending me shit. And I'm just like, oh no, like I've outgrown that kind of thing that doesn't really spark the same thing it did in me. And also like what you're sending me is fucking
crazy,
insane.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's almost like you're starting to lose that connection with people. You're like, nah, dude, this is not real. Like, you're sending me this
what's going to start happening is confronting people with like, it's not real. And then the fact that government, the president, Trump didn't disavow QAnon. They asked him about it like a year ago.
Oh yeah, no.
And he's like, it seems like it's good.
Yeah.
And it seems like I'm like I'm on the right side or something. But it's so harmful that politicians, we have to agree on what's real. We have to agree. And that's the thing. It's like my prescription for the QAnon people is I just hope that they do something fucked up that's manageable so that they can be, I mean, they're 51, they're gone.
But the problem is that, and that's what I'm realizing, because it's a long time since I've been in junior high.
Yeah.
And I gave a fuck about these things.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. And anything someone sends me that's like a friend of mine, I research, I look, I read, I don't just dismiss. And everything a few people have sent me is such hocus pocus. Yeah. And I'm like, well, no. And then they look at me like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, you've changed. I'm like,
yeah.
You guys know this is stupid. Like, who cares? Like, UFOs? I mean, what's happening terrestrially? There's enough happening here. There's enough to prove.
Yes.
That we don't need to spend our entire...
It's like Neil Armstrong punched that guy in the face. Or Buzz Aldrin. Do you ever see that video? No. Somebody went up to one of the moon landing guys.
Oh, and said it was fake?
Yeah. Punched him in the face.
So, is that what we need to do?
Yes.
In times of... And you said something like early on that was so smart. It was just people who wanted to be the master of something. People who want this knowledge that you don't have. They don't have... You know who doesn't believe in conspiracy theories? People that have done shit.
people that like Bill Gates doesn't believe it. He's the object of a conspiracy theory.
A lot, yeah.
He doesn't do them. What he does is fucking invent shit with his amazing brain. That's what he does. Like so it's losers. It's fucking losers.
I want to understand why. Because there's conspiracy things all over the map. Like if you go down a YouTube hole where
internet.
this person
I'll
is
answer
a
your
lizard.
question. I'll answer your question. The internet.
No, this is okay. Well, my question is why, if you're going to put so much effort and dedicate part of your life and identity and something you sign up for to a conspiracy, why not to the plethora of issues that are real?
Well, somebody made the good point about QAnon. They said, first of all, they're trying to. It's about trafficked kids.
It's always about trafficked kids. And it's like,
but you know what you could do? What they've done is they fucked up the existing channels for trafficked kid hotlines because they flooded them with phone calls. Yes.
fuck, are you serious?
Yes. So they can't. They're overloaded. That whoever does that is overloaded. The FBI or whomever. So if you're not you're hurting trafficked kids.
But why all of a sudden? I mean, that's what is so weird. It's almost like the actual issue, like helping the actual issue is not their issue. It's knowing that there's an issue out there. Because you could easily volunteer for so many,
There's no game. There's no game there. It's yes, you're right. They do want. It's about like being on the inside of something, but they don't.
It's like everybody wants to be a spy.
Yeah, they don't want to help. It's like it's like any movement. There's not that many people actually helping. There's a lot of people making signs and shit like that, but they're not actually helping. The internet has driven people crazy. We cannot. I said it last week. I'll say it again. We cannot take this much information. Human beings. I said it already and I'll say it again. Not a second late. Human beings cannot take this much information. We are not meant to take this much information. So I started saying this week that this is a information overdose. This is a seizure from an information overdose. We can't take false information and real information, actor, politician, what's who.
Right. People are malfunctioning.
They truly
They're
malfunction.
just like grabbing the closest thing, being
QAnon,
like, cool.
You're a child molester. We're going to rush the thing. And then what? And then what were you going to do? Like, but they can't. We're not supposed to have this much information. We just aren't. We're supposed to get information from an elder. There's supposed to be we're built for like small communities. We're built for small retirement communities. And we're supposed to just have one elder that we go, hey, what's that? And they go, it is da 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 da. Yeah, okay, that's what that is. We're not built for this. So, and these are, and especially people with feeble brains, which a lot of them have.
So, okay, I have a question. What should I do with my friends, a few friends that they're on the other side? I don't know how I can't relate to this. This signing up.
I've seen a few articles about it this week
what do you
about
do
how we're supposed to handle QAnon people, and
they're not QAnon, but it's like conspiracy to where it's just like, dude, if you're too susceptible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not QAnon, but it's like you're so susceptible.
Even we talked about it a couple weeks ago. You used to have to go somewhere to get the conspiracy. Like the level of there was a barrier to entry.
Right. I was into it when it was like
to a fucking bookstore near the mall, near the freeway. It wasn't
with like
in a good,
weird.
Yeah, it's like maybe a sex. You might get molested. It's always overcast. It's never like sunny.
No.
And you took effort. This is just too easy, and people are too
infographic, nothing.
It just fucking beams into people's heads, and they can't. To the point where we have an election. One stack of votes is higher than the other. and they go, nuh-uh. No, it's rigged. Okay, you think it's rigged? Okay, let's go to the court and see what they say. And the court said, no, it's not rigged. And this is a Republican court a lot of the time. And they still won't accept it. So it's a bit like people not thinking, just saying that stop sign doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that.
So we're like not agreeing.
It's like if we can't agree on what a stop sign does, we're fucked.
Yeah.
And if we can't agree on what's reality, honestly, that's what the issue is. What is reality? And I said this on here, but also I can't believe Trump at some point didn't say my reality is better than your reality.
I said,
yeah, like why he wouldn't say, like, because that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's just a better reality. And it doesn't, so now authority's gone because William Barr said it was bullshit too, the election.
Yeah.
There's no malfeasance, there's nothing, no chicanery, anything. Any of my old man was.
Chicanery?
And so we're very fucked. And my only thing is, I hope that we might have to lock these people up. I don't see how else you do it. If someone won't agree to what reality is, you just
lock
have to
them up? Come on.
put them in insane asylums. They're insane.
Okay.
They're insane, and they won't listen to
can't do
reason.
that.
And it's like if a schizophrenic person said, that guy's in the FBI, and you're like, it's a security guy.
Right.
And then the president came and said, no, this guy's in the FBI. What do you do? Like, the guy's not actually in the FBI, but if the president says he is, he's pretty credible. And then 150 senators go, yeah, this guy's in the FBI. So it's mental illness that's supported by politicians milking it for their own gain.
But the problem is not that. Take all the people at the Capitol. They're just a symptom. They are not the problem. The problem starts further back when on the internet and the information we get is not verified. We don't know what's real. I mean, some people will use old videos, label them something else. Everyone's outraged. And it's like, no,
right.
Wait, you guys know this, no, wait, stop. Everyone. So even at that level, people, there's no standard for actual information
reality.
On a small level about like just making something go viral.
Yeah.
That is innocuous, for example.
Yeah.
Like you sent me the guy being like, you're treating me like a black person in the airport.
And
that
it
was
an
like
old video.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah.
But they were showing it like capital
Like it just
insurrection.
happened, yeah.
Are we gonna throw that person in jail? No. But are they doing the same thing that someone else did, just with a worse outcome? Yeah. Like.
Right. Well, then
So-
you're getting into degrees.
For sure, but there's a lot of
magnitude,
QAnon
orders of magnitude, which Republicans somehow in the past couple weeks have gotten very confused
They're
about
really
a magnitude where one thing, if a migraine is the same as somebody shooting you in the head.
Yeah, it's like
same
I
thing.
mean, the head is still
This or shot in the head is the same. You
Yeah.
poked in the face, shot in the head, and they go, no, it's the same thing. You guys did that. You guys are into head trauma.
BLM,
No.
BLM,
Yeah.
Antifa.
Yes.
It's like-
which, by the way, I looked up right before we started. 93% of those marches were peaceful, and the ones that weren't they didn't arrest black people.
And no cops died.
I think one cop died.
One cop died, and which
during
one?
A robbery, I think, because I had a big argument with somebody.
A
He
robbery?
tried to stop a robbery. He
Oh,
tried to stop a
looting.
looter.
Yeah.
So a cop did die. But it's not right that the cop died. Whoever killed him, goodbye.
Right.
goodbye.
Goodbye.